The Washington quarter dollar stands as one of the most iconic and enduring coins in United States history, a shining reflection of the nation's reverence for its first president, George Washington, and a symbol of American pride that has circulated for nearly a century. Introduced in 1932, this quarter was originally designed to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, but its popularity, artistic beauty, and practical use ensured it would remain a permanent fixture in U.S. coinage. The story of this coin begins in the early 1930s, when America was deep in the throes of the Great Depression. Despite the nation's economic struggles, the Treasury Department and the Commission of Fine Arts sought to create a coin that would honor Washington's 200th birthday in a manner befitting the father of the country. The Washington quarter replaced the Standing Liberty quarter, which had been in use since 1916, and while that design was admired for its artistry, it was considered too complex and prone to wear. The new coin would be simpler, stronger in symbolism, and instantly recognizable. The design competition for the Washington quarter drew submissions from some of the most talented sculptors of the era, but it was ultimately John Flanagan, a New York sculptor known for his neoclassical style, whose design was chosen. Flanagan's obverse featured a left-facing portrait of George Washington, modeled after the bust created by French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon in 1786. The choice of Houdon's likeness was significant because it was considered the most accurate and lifelike representation of Washington, sculpted from life at Mount Vernon. Flanagan carefully adapted this classical bust into a bold coin design that captured Washington's noble strength and calm determination. The obverse prominently displayed the word liberty above Washington's head, the national motto "In God We Trust" to the left, and the year of issue below the portrait. The reverse design, equally striking, depicted a heraldic eagle with wings outstretched, clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons, a symbol of strength and preparedness for defense, while beneath the eagle rested two olive branches, representing peace. The words United States of America arched across the top, and the denomination quarter dollar appeared along the bottom, with the national motto E pluribus unum between them. This balance of power and peace perfectly embodied the ideals Washington himself championed. When the coin was first released in August 1932, it was intended as a one-year commemorative issue only, but public enthusiasm quickly changed those plans. The Washington quarter became a permanent circulating coin beginning in 1934, replacing the Standing Liberty quarter entirely. In its earliest years, from 1932 to 1964, the Washington quarter was struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, weighing 6.25 grams with a 24.3 mm diameter. This composition gave it a beautiful luster and a satisfying ring when dropped on a hard surface, a sound collectors can still recognize today. Mint marks were placed discreetly on the reverse below the eagle, indicating where the coin was struck: D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and no mint mark for Philadelphia. The 1932 series produced two key dates that would become legendary among collectors: the 1932 D and 1932 S quarters. With mintages of only 436,800 and 408,000 respectively, they are the lowest mintage regular issue Washington quarters ever struck, making them highly sought after. From 1934 onward, production increased dramatically as the coin became a workhorse of American commerce. The 1930s issues show subtle variations in strike quality and detail. Collectors often look for sharp definition in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. As World War II approached, silver remained the standard metal, but minor die changes occurred over time to extend die life and improve coin production efficiency. By the 1950s, the Washington quarter had become a symbol of post-war prosperity. Millions of silver quarters jangled in Americans' pockets, vending machines, jukeboxes, and toll booths. Its imagery was so familiar that when the 1960s silver crisis hit, changing the coin's metal content became a national debate. The Coinage Act of 1965 officially removed silver from circulating quarters, transitioning them to a clad composition of copper-nickel outer layers bonded to a pure copper core, with a total weight of 5.67 grams. This shift marked the end of an era, but it also preserved the Washington quarter for continued daily use. The first clad quarters were minted in 1965 but bear no mint mark. Starting in 1968, mint marks reappeared on the obverse, to the right of Washington's ponytail. In the decades that followed, the Washington quarter underwent several transformations, reflecting the nation's evolving identity and artistic vision. In 1975 and 1976, the reverse was temporarily replaced with a special bicentennial design featuring a colonial drummer and 13 stars, celebrating the 200th anniversary of American independence. These coins, all dated 1976, remain beloved among collectors and nostalgic Americans alike. Then, in 1999, the U.S. Mint launched the groundbreaking 50-state quarters program, breathing new life into the Washington quarter. Each year from 1999 to 2008, 5 new designs were released, each representing a different U.S. state with imagery that captured its history, culture, and natural beauty. Despite the reverse changes, the obverse portrait of Washington by Flanagan endured, preserving continuity between generations. After the 50-state series came the D.C. and U.S. Territories quarters in 2009, followed by the America the Beautiful quarters, 2010 to 2021, which honored 56 national parks and historic sites across the nation. In 2021, the program concluded with the Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site Quarter, marking the end of a 22-year tradition. But the Washington Quarter was far from finished. Beginning in 2022, the U.S. Mint introduced the American Women Quarters program, featuring new reverse designs celebrating influential women in American history while updating Washington's portrait with a right-facing bust by sculptor Laura Garden Fraser, the very artist whose design had originally been recommended back in 1931 but rejected in favor of Flanagan. This restoration was poetic justice and an homage to one of the first female sculptors in U.S. Mint history. Throughout its long run, the Washington Quarter has served not only as currency but also as a canvas of American art and identity. From the classical dignity of Flanagan original design to the modern diversity of the state and women's quarters, each iteration captures a different facet of American heritage. Collectors cherish this series for its depth, its varieties, and its story. Beyond the well-known 1932D and 1932S rarities, there are numerous valuable minting errors and varieties that will be explored in detail in Part 2 of this video, such as double-die obverse, off-center strikes, and transitional errors from silver to clad planchets. Each error tells its own story of minting technology and human ingenuity. The Washington Quarter's journey from 1932 to today mirrors America itself, a blend of tradition and innovation, a nation constantly evolving while honoring its past. It remains one of the most collected and beloved coins in U.S. history, proof that a small piece of metal can carry immense stories of heritage and hope. When it comes to the Washington Quarter dollar, understanding its value in the collector's market means diving deep into decades of minting history, metal composition changes, rare die varieties, and those magical minting errors that have turned ordinary pocket change into life-changing discoveries for lucky collectors. While millions of these quarters were produced each year, only a select few hold the kind of rarity and desirability that make them worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars today. Let's start by revisiting the very foundation of Washington Quarter rarity, the legendary 1932D and 1932S issues. As the first-year coins of the series, their limited mintages make them the key dates every collector dreams of owning. The 1932D, with only 436,800 struck, and the 1932S, with just 408,000, were produced at a time when the Great Depression had forced the U.S. Mint to drastically reduce coin production. Because of this, these two issues are scarce in any condition, but in higher mint state grades, their values skyrocket. A 1932D quarter in MS-65 condition can fetch well over $15,000, while pristine examples graded MS-66 or higher have sold for upwards of $25,000. Meanwhile, the 1932S quarter follows close behind, often selling for $10,000 to $20,000 depending on its preservation. These two quarters are the pillars of the Washington series, anchoring countless collections and inspiring new enthusiasts to begin their numismatic journeys. As production continued through the 1930s and 1940s, certain dates gained fame for their subtle but valuable varieties. For instance, the 1934 double-die obverse quarter is one of the earliest and most recognized errors in the series. The doubling is visible on the motto "In God We Trust" and on the word "Liberty," giving the coin a bold, dramatic appearance under magnification. Depending on its grade, this coin can be worth anywhere from $150 in circulated condition to $2,000 or more in mint state. Similarly, the 1937 double-die reverse features a clear doubling in the lettering of United States of America and E pluribus unum, creating another desirable collectible for variety hunters. During World War II, silver was still used in quarter production, but the pressure on the mint to meet coinage demand resulted in occasional striking errors, weak strikes, and planchet flaws. The 1943 Washington Quarter, for example, is notorious for having soft details on Washington's hair and the eagle's breast feathers, and sharply struck examples command a premium. The 1942 D over horizontal D mintmark variety is another standout, it shows a repunched D mint mark that was accidentally placed sideways before being corrected. This small but fascinating detail can add hundreds of dollars in value to an otherwise common date. The 1950s and early 1960s marked the golden age of silver Washington quarters, when production quality peaked and millions were minted. However, even in this flood of silver coins, a few special issues stand out. The 1950 D/S over mintmark variety, where a Denver mintmark was punched over a San Francisco mintmark, is an extremely rare transitional error, proof of the mint's practice of reusing dies across facilities. This error can sell for $400 to $1,500 depending on condition. The 1955 doubled die obverse, though much rarer than the famous 1955 Lincoln cent version, also exists for quarters and is coveted by specialists. Then came the major turning point, 1965, when the Coinage Act ended silver's use in circulating quarters. But that transition year produced one of the most valuable modern mint errors in all of U.S. coinage history, the 1965 Silver Transitional Error quarter. When the mint began using clad planchets that year, a small number of leftover silver planchets from 1964 accidentally made their way into the presses, resulting in silver quarters dated 1965. These transitional error coins have been authenticated by major grading services and can bring $6,000 to $10,000 at auction depending on grade. A few examples even sold for over $12,000 in pristine condition. Similarly, the 1964 D double die reverse quarter, showing noticeable doubling on the eagle's tail feathers and lettering, can reach values of $1,000 or more. As coinage technology improved, the mint produced more consistent strikes, but fascinating modern errors still emerged. The 1970 S-proof quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter planchet is one of the most famous modern wrong planchet errors ever discovered, with only one confirmed example known. It sold at auction for a staggering $35,000, making it one of the rarest Washington quarters ever found. Likewise, the 1977 D Washington quarter struck on a 40% silver planchet, intended for Eisenhower dollars, is another incredible rarity, fetching $7,000 to $10,000. Collectors also chase the 1971 D and 1976 D off-center strikes, where a portion of the design is missing due to misaligned strikes, valued from $100 to $1,000 depending on severity. The bicentennial quarters of 1976, with their special drummer reverse, remain some of the most nostalgic coins in circulation. While hundreds of millions were minted, special 40% silver bicentennial quarters were produced for collectors in both uncirculated and proof sets. A pristine proof version graded PR70 Deep Cameo can sell for $2,000 or more, and a few double die varieties have been discovered, showing extra thickness on the date 1776 to 1976. Most bicentennial quarters in circulation hold only face value, but silver-clad proofs and high-grade uncirculated examples remain highly collectible. Moving into the 1980s and 1990s, minting technology and die maintenance improved, but new varieties continued to appear. The 1983 P. Washington quarter, though common, is famous because the mint produced it during a time of heavy circulation wear and few mint sets, meaning very few pristine examples exist. An MS-67 example of the 1983 P can command prices over $1,000. Another fascinating modern error is the 1984 P spitting eagle quarter, named for the die crack that runs from the eagle's beak to the rim, giving the illusion that the eagle is spitting. It's one of the most famous die crack varieties in U.S. coinage and can sell for $50 to $300, depending on sharpness. The 1990s ushered in the state quarters era, revolutionizing American numismatics. Starting in 1999 with the Delaware quarter, the U.S. Mint began releasing 5 new designs each year, each celebrating one of the 50 states. Although most are common, certain errors make them extraordinarily valuable. The 2004 D Wisconsin Extra Leaf High and Low varieties, discovered shortly after release, are among the most famous modern mint errors. These coins feature an extra leaf on the ear of corn on the reverse, one pointing high and one low, caused by accidental die gouges. These small varieties can sell for $500 to $1,500, and pristine examples graded MS-67 have reached $3,000. Thanks for watching.